Unpacking the fatal Soshanguve attack that killed 5 people.
My mother said that the next time I go to court I should look at getting legal representation, legal aid.
Cryptocurrency and legal aid, the complexities in Johannesburg child pornography accused Darren Wilken's case. And Stellenbosch University awards jazz legend Jonathan Butler with an honorary doctorate for his contribution to arts and culture. Hello, I'm Jane Dutton.
EWN. In touch, in tune, and independent.
A woman from Marry Me, informal settlement in Soshanguve, Pretoria, says 2 of her siblings were part of the group of patrollers who were attacked on Saturday morning. Philemon Siseko was 37 years old, while Tegofatso Siseko is 26. Following the attack by suspected criminals, 4 patrollers died on the scene, while 8 others were hospitalized. Yesterday, another victim succumbed to their injuries.
We're at the Marry Me informal settlement in Soshanguve, Pretoria, where the community is still visibly shaken and afraid to speak to the media. This is because 4 of its patrollers were killed on Saturday morning by suspected criminals wanting to take over this area. Eyewitness News spoke to some of the family members of the patrollers, some of whom have died, and some remain in hospital in critical conditions.
My cousin called me. They told me to come to Marry Me informal settlement because people have died. And one of the people that have died is my cousin, Katlego, and that he was badly burnt.
The community members have expressed that the crime in the area is rife, and with the lack of police visibility, these patrollers formulated this group to try and curb the crime in the area. However, they expressed that they were working unarmed, simply using whistles to communicate with each other. On Sunday, Premier Panyaza Lesufi and other officials visited the community to convey condolences to the families of the deceased. Jabuli Limbata, Eyewitness News in Soshanguve.
Johannesburg child pornography accused Darren Wilken has opted for legal aid assistance. Wilken, together with his girlfriend Tiona Megan Moodley, briefly appeared in the Randburg Magistrates Court this morning. The pair stand accused of operating a global child pornography network. The FBI tracked down Wilken and reported him to the SAPS.
My mother said that the next time I go to court I should look at getting legal representation, legal aid.
Cryptocurrency adds to the complexity of the case.
Allegations are that the accused traded in cryptocurrency. That in itself poses quite a challenge for the financial investigation that will also be conducted.
The case has been postponed to June the 20th. A former accused who turned state witness in the Joslin Smith trial claims she was kidnapped and tortured by unknown men before her arrest. Laurentia Lombard is being cross-examined by defence attorneys for the accused. Lombard's testimony implicates Joslin's mother, Kelly Smith, Jacqueline Apollos and Stefano van Rijn for being complicit in the little girl's disappearance.
Defense attorney Nobagre Mkabai, who represents accused number 2, Stefano van Rijn, questioned state witness Laurentia Lombard about how she came to know her client. Lombard told the court she met van Rijn after he did some work at her boyfriend's car wash in Middelpost, Saldanha Bay. The state witness said she later learned van Rijn had told police he suspects her boyfriend had sold Joslin to a Sangoma. When asked how he came to learn this, Lombard told the court she was taken along with her boyfriend to what she believed was a safe house in Langebaan after Joslin went missing. Lombard says a group of unknown men with masks and guns then tortured her and her boyfriend for answers about what happened to Joslin. She says the masked men told her van Rijn informed them he suspected Lombard and her boyfriend knew what happened to Joslin. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News, Western Cape High Court in Saldanha Bay.
International Relations Minister Ronald Lamola has met with former ambassador to the United States, Ibrahim Rasul, following his expulsion as a diplomat. But the Department of International Relations and Cooperation says it won't be divulging the contents of today's meeting. A formal report will now be submitted to the President for his consideration. Rasul returned to South Africa yesterday after being stripped of his diplomatic privileges and given just a week to leave the US over comments he made during a webinar about interacting with a country under the Trump administration. Rasul's not saying what his future plans are.
It is too soon. Sometimes you must get some distance between a moment designed to humiliate you and the anger that could come from it, and then expressing yourself. Give me a week or two of a vow of silence on that until I can finally make a distance between my former role in Washington and my new role as a private citizen.
The lack of water, the Pretoria Magistrates Court, has caused delays in a South African Police Service tender fraud matter. Alleged corrupt businessman Kishan Chetty made a brief court appearance with 7 of his co-accused. Chetty is accused of scoring dodgy tenders to supply SAPs with printer toners, stationery and furniture worth about 800,000 rand. But this is just one of the many cases against him. In a separate matter, he's facing more fraud and racketeering charges for a 56 million rand vehicle branding case with 40 other co-accused. The Health Department is leading a targeted universal testing campaign for TB, focused on asymptomatic vulnerable groups. South Africa remains among the highest-ranked tuberculosis infections. The WHO says people vulnerable to the disease include those with diabetes, tobacco users, and HIV-positive people.
The Western Cape TB Recovery Plan's goal remains clear: to reduce TB incidence by 90% and TB mortality by 95% by 2035. We need each of you to share awareness about TB prevention and urge those at risk to get tested.
In Turkey, police have arrested several journalists. This comes during escalating protests over the imprisonment of the Istanbul mayor. Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu was jailed on corruption charges last Wednesday. He's accused of running a criminal organization accepting bribes, extortion, and illegally recording personal data. His detention comes 4 days before his Republican People's Party planned to name him as its 2028 presidential candidate. He is a key opponent of President Erdogan. US and Russian officials have opened talks in Saudi Arabia on a partial ceasefire in the Ukraine war. That's a day after delegates from Washington and Kyiv had their own discussions on the 3-year war. Cross-border attacks have continued unabated. Trump envoy Steve Witkoff voiced optimism that any agreement struck would pave the way for a full-on ceasefire.
Falling in love with Jesus was the best thing that I ever done.
Grammy-nominated singer, songwriter, guitarist Jonathan Butler has been awarded an honorary doctorate for his contribution to arts and culture. This marked the start of Stellenbosch University's March graduation week. Butler also performed during his ceremony today. And that's it from us today. We'll see you for more again tomorrow.
I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy honoris causa on Jonathan Butler.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.